Hello guys, this is Crudless and it's about to get serious. We're going to talk about the shutdown of the legacy World of Warcraft non-profit private server named Nostalrius. And this topic here, what generally happened was that Blizzard sent a cease and desist letter basically telling this non-profit private server to shut down and stop them from running this server. And this Nostalrius, as the name suggests, nostalgia. It was a legacy server running the very first re-edition of World of Warcraft that we now refer to as vanilla WoW, basically. And this server, or this vanilla WoW, is no longer experienceable in game. That's the big controversy in here, because Blizzard has stated for a while now that they are not willing to host their own legacy servers to give people the experience or the opportunity to experience the old content that we experienced back in 2004 and 2005. Since that time, Blizzard has been added expansions, they've been adding patches, writing over the old content, removing a lot of this, especially after Cataclysm in 2000 and 2010. They redid all the quests, and they redid all the models for the world. Well, not all the models, but the terrains were changed by the Cataclysm. So experiencing the old vanilla Warcraft experience is no longer possible by legal means. But these guys at Nostalrius decided to reverse engineer the content from original World of Warcraft and host this as a private server. Now, private servers has been around for a while, and Blizzard has, I think they've been shutting down a couple of them, but they haven't really done this huge push against them. Many of these private servers were hosted by people, and they were of various quality, one might say, is a nice way of putting it. But some of them made money by taking donations, for example. And now this server which was hosted by Nostalrius here is shut down as well, even though they didn't make any money on it. So I want to preface this by saying three things. First of all, I have not played on Nostalrius. Second, I have played during vanilla WoW, so I know what it was like back then. And third, I do not condone breaking World of Warcraft or Blizzard's terms of service. So the terms of service is basically, every time you install a program or you agree to some sort of terms of service. Basically, everyone skips through them and just clicks agree. But these involve basically the legal matter or the legal terms that tell you what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do with the certain product or a certain program in this case. So Blizzard's TOS basically secures that Blizzard has the right to own and distribute the product of Warcraft and their copyright laws and stuff like that. Basically, I'm not going to go through too much through all this because there's a lot of stuff with which basically protects World of Warcraft from being taken by other people and being distributed. Even though there are parks in China and stuff like that are almost copying the World of Warcraft designs, and I've seen a lot of these free-to-play MMOs also being created that basically rip models from Warcraft to create their own games. However, these go under the radar because they're not as popular. However, Nostalrius was super popular with 800,000 registered accounts. That's a lot of people. However, it was free. And since it's free, a lot of people try it out. So I remember back in the day, this is my experience with private servers and kind of a description and analogy of what I experienced. So back in 2006, that was about the time I started playing on a private server. 2007, I believe, after the launch of Burning Crusade. So after I'd done a lot of the in-game missions and stuff, and basically had done up to Karazhan in the Burning Crusade, a couple of friends of mine and I decided to try out some of these private servers. This was during a time when there weren't that many good MMOs out there to try. So we had some free-to-play MMOs that were heavily pay-to-win back then. And I tried out a lot of those to try out and see if there was something new to experience, because I felt like Warcraft was a little boring, like many feel right now, because there's a lot of hate going on about Warlords of Draenor and Garrison Gate and a lot of world of menu craft going on where everything is just menus and the garrison is shit. So what we did back then was the same thing. We got tired of WoW because there wasn't anything to do. So we went to try out other stuff, other games instead. And by this, Blizzard lose money because we don't subscribe to the game anymore. That's pretty logical, right? Well, we tried out this private server as well. And this server was a fresh breath of air, one could say, where things were a little different, but they felt familiar because it was the same game. Yet there were some changes to things, making it a bit different. For example, there was one server that was only Alterac Valley, I believe, that I tried. That was basically just war all the time. That was really cool. And there was a server that basically gave you all of the tier gear immediately after starting out. So you were at full level. You didn't have to go through all the leveling. You can just go to do dungeons, for example, which is basically what Blizzard has done now with the level 100 boost after like waiting 8 years or something like that. The things about these servers were that they were heavily imbalanced, and there were a lot of tendency to give unfair design decisions because the players that were running these servers weren't actually game developers. They were regular people like you and me, and not like these awesome gods that we know as game developers. They basically gave unfair advantages, basically what we now regard as pay to win in free-to-play games, for example, or in other games as well. With a game, for example, donators got special gear and special boosts, giving them invincibility, for example, for a day or something like that, something infurious. I don't think Nostalrius did this, because Nostalrius was basically just a vanilla experience. But that was my experience with private servers. I just wanted to tell you guys about that because that's for transparency's sake, that's how I experienced them back in the day. And the reason why I did so was to try something different, of course, because the whole thing was boring. So it's kind of an analogy to what is happening now, or what was happening until this was shut down. And these servers were infringing upon the terms of service of World of Warcraft, in addition to taking money, of course, from these donators. There's like this gray area with legality here because they were taking donations, they weren't taking. You weren't paying for a service, so the topic of how this was paid for and the use of fair use in these cases it's kind of shady. But to what I understand, since Nostalrius was free, they didn't really benefit anyway, except for giving fans of this of vanilla WoW anything or something more. They preserved the game in a way it was that Blizzard won't give you anymore. So there are many gray areas surrounding this, and there are many positions to take. And I think it's beneficial to the discussion to take a neutral standpoint and then assess everything that was going on. If I were Blizzard, then of course I wanted to protect my own brand and the brand of Warcraft, especially now when the movie is coming out, new expansion is rolling in, and they're about to make a lot of money on that. Definitely they are. So they want to secure their position as the definite owner, and they don't want convoluted messages to spread to people. So the thing that makes this a bit different than these free-to-play games that give you pay-to-win stuff was that these guys who reverse engineer and host these private servers, they are using World of Warcraft, which is owned by Blizzard, and they are representing it in a different way. Maybe that's the way the fans want it. However, Blizzard still wants to keep their grasp on the Warcraft brand and their stuff. So if you listen to a clip where in one of the Q&As, one fan asked the developers of the game if they could add legacy servers, giving players the opportunity to go back to the original state of vanilla WoW to experience how that was like.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't. Remember when you had to like spam cities and say, need a tank, need a tank, need a tank during the Burning Crusade days? You don't remember that because now you just push a button that says go to the dungeon. You don't want to do that. Remember that one bug that really pissed you off that we fixed like 2 years ago? Still there in the past.
And he got a really terrible answer, which was basically, no, you don't want that. Also, it's about preservation. And I've always been a proponent of using and sharing digital media and preserving it in the best way possible. And this has been a discussion when it comes down to older games basically being shut down or no longer working because the servers for the game is shut down. For example, as of right now, there is a game coming out, Nosgoth, or the game has been out for a long time, but Nosgoth, that's a game on Steam right now that I got for free. It's a free-to-play game. And this game is shutting down in a couple of months, or 1 month from now, I believe. And that will be no longer playable. However, I believe that games should be preserved in it's quite difficult with WoW because it has to be preserved in different states after a patch or a expansion has been added. So that makes the whole thing a lot more difficult than it really should be. That's kind of vague, but I guess it's easier when a game has only one rendition. So there are two outcomes after a game or a server is shut down, especially with online games like this. And that is either you make the game available offline in an offline mode, or you give the source code to someone else. That's two already. Or for example, release it as open source, for example, so people could develop own servers and host it for free. Or alternatively, you have three. I can count, obviously. So the last option is that people at the Blizzard or the company that holds the ownage of the server, they keep the server, they keep the code, and they keep everything for themselves, preserving it within the company and holding on to the rights in this way. Now, in this case, none of these three happened because the game hasn't shut down yet, so there's still number 3 is still running. We still have some form of the game still going on. So Blizzard is intent to keeping that one going as much of their intent as possible. And also, these guys who made this private server, they didn't get the code from Blizzard. They kind of not stole, they borrowed it to make their own server. So there are some fidgety points going on here. So ideally, we would like to see the other things going on instead. Option 1 or 2 would be much better. But you can see why Blizzard wants to shut down this server. If we go into the reasons why, for once, having the server available would detract from the sub numbers of World of Warcraft, because this is a more tempting, or for some people at least, more tempting alternative to World of Warcraft, because many people are tired of it. As I said previously, they're tired, they want something familiar, but they want something different. So they are losing subscribers because people go and play here for free. So that's one reason why they want to take it down. Another one is that they want to protect their brand. They want to keep the quality at the level that they feel is good. So what Blizzard feel is good might not be the same that's the same as the fans think is good. And there's a lot of subjectivity going on here. And I believe that Blizzard probably have an excellent team of developers still, since they actually created this monolith of a game that was and is super successful still. So they probably know what they're doing. However, their communication with the fans have been quite terrible as of late. And this action here, without any further, or I guess prior announcement and reasoning, gives kind of this bad image to the company as going around with a banhammer and beating up the small guy. Ooh, yeah, Blizzard, we like to cut the people down that want to give people what they want. That's what the image they get right now. They could have just released a statement explaining their own look at this, and that would have made the whole situation a lot better, at least for me, since I have this neutral stance on this discussion here, as I feel like, at least. So what are the outcomes of this situation? Well, first of all, they've already made the developers and the keepers of the server, Nostalrius, have made this petition and sent an open letter to Blizzard asking them to add legacy servers. So this might be the first push to making Blizzard realize that they should make a version available for the sake of preservation, but also for the sake of they could make money on this. This could be economically feasible for Blizzard. Additionally, this will add something different to Blizzard, and Blizzard really needs something different and something familiar. So in a lot of my videos, or especially the leveling videos that I do, I aim to level quickly to show you guys how to do stuff in a different way. That's my way of utilizing a game that is the same as it has been since the release. For example, World of Warcraft haven't changed that much since it was released, to be fair. And I try to take that game and I try to do something different with it to show you guys that you can do something in a different way. I mean, stuff is a lot more fun if it's not dull. It's a logical statement, right? So stuff becomes dull if it's really, really normal. So if you're used to something and you do it for a long time, you get jaded and then you get tired of it, of course. You're doing the garrison missions every day, and then after a couple of months or a couple of weeks or a couple of days, you'll be tired of it and you quit and you go and do something else. That's human nature. Or human nature, it's really, really subjective, but that's the general gist of it at least. Some people have been commenting that, if you can level to level 90 or use a boost in like 90 minutes or do this quickly, this shows that the game is terrible. This discussion, or that point is, well, it's not really valid. Because the intention of the video or the intention of leveling quickly here isn't to skip the content. It is to, well, for some people it is, but really it is to approach the game in a different manner. And this is done with a lot of games. Lately, the speedrunning community has been growing, or the speedrunning phenomenon has been increasing super much. It's been increasing a lot lately because of video sharing the last couple of years and streaming and stuff like that. And speedrunning games is all about this, approaching a game in a different manner, but it's the same game as you've been playing all this time, so it feels familiar. This is the same thing I've been talking about all this time. So yeah, we also see speedrunners, we see soloers doing this amazing group content alone. They're circumventing what Blizzard has made for them. They're doing this differently, and they're having fun in a way that is different to what is intended, basically by doing stuff they're not supposed to, because that's fun, right? And when people do this, it's a good indicator that the game is getting boring. If a lot of people do it, I mean. This brings me back to the original reason why I tried out private servers. I wanted it to be different, but I wanted it to be familiar to what I was already doing. And this is the same for Nostalrius. And when a company like Blizzard decides they don't want to give you something, like the legacy servers, when they say no, then people will find a way around that and they will create their own stuff. And that's basically life. It's not life, but I make this grandiose statement, it's life, that they want to go outside and do other stuff. But people will find their way into doing what they want. And if people want legacy servers, just give them legacy servers. It might hurt the brand a bit because people will be complaining. It will cost some resources. It might give them money. They will probably do this analysis and see what's beneficial economically to the development team, for example. And hell, it might cost us a raid tier. Who knows? So thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was a bit rambly. It was a rant after all. And I hope you guys check out my other stuff. No, not me. Check out this stuff I have on my channel and subscribe if you like the video. That's my my goodbye thing. See you guys next time. Bye bye.